Hello everybody. So today a quick update on BioStem. They posted preliminary results for Q4 of 2024 and those results are outstanding. So I'll get to it, but this is my favorite small cap and let me give you a recap on this stock. It's a $250 million company in market cap, so very inexpensive. It only trades in the pink sheets. I had to go for Schwab to get it. Many brokers don't even have it, just so you know. I can't wait for them to list on the NASDAQ so I can get them on a modern day broker. But anyways, what's the point? What is this company? This company turns placenta into bandages, and I know it's an allograft and it's more complicated than that, but it's essentially what it is. They take a placenta and they have their own technology and they turned it into a wound care product, a sheet, and you order it in different size, and that depends on the size of your wound, and it is a sort of a modern bandage, a way to heal, and that's what this product does. And of course it has a lot of applications in a lot of different sectors, which you can view right there, and it is an innovation that is getting picked up by the market. A lot of people get the product, and it's a brand new product. The product is roughly a year old as far as commercialization goes. One advantage of this product and the future iterations of this product or this company is that they are regulated by the FDA, but only for the risk of disease transmission. And this is different from, say, developing a drug. It's much more complex to develop a drug than it is to develop a quote-unquote bandage. Sorry, I don't have a better word for it. But it's much easier for them to develop that and get it approved. They also have intellectual property and patents. So this is not just a one-trick pony. They have multiple products. Right now, they have 4 of them. They may be working on more products in the future, especially a product with a specific application for diabetic foot ulcers, which would be an enormous market for them. They started commercializing the product last year, like I said, and they have a partner that's doing a great job with the rollout. They also have more studies in order to establish the efficacy of all of these 4 different products. And of course, why do I like this product? Why focus on placenta-based wound care? Well, it wouldn't be on this channel if it wasn't A, hypergrowth, and B, cheap, and it is both. So let's talk about the Q4. Let's talk about the hyper growth. So this company realized $301 million of trailing 12-month revenue. So they started March $41 million, June of 24 $74 million, September $82 million, December $102 million. Quarter over quarter, from September to December, the growth is up plus 25%. If you annualize that, that means the instant growth rate at Q4, at the end of Q4, was 140% annualized. This is nuts growth, but this is especially nuts growth for a company whose market cap, once again, is $250 million, right? We don't need to be a genius to look at the price to sales for a company like this. And they have good things going on in the process. They still want to list on the NASDAQ. Now, they didn't submit that by Q4 2024 unless we get an announcement that they did. But from what I can see, we didn't get that. So that's probably going to be Q1. But when they get listed on the NASDAQ, I can't wait. I'll be able to transfer it to a modern broker. That's point number 1. They're hiring. They're also growing and hiring more people. But let me get to the valuation, and that's, I think, the most important thing. So yes, turning placentas into bandages, it's a really cool idea, in my opinion. I know in the comment section, some people are going to tell me that some cultures eat placentas. I got it, but I think it's cooler to turn them into band-aids or stem cells. There's other applications in stem cells. Point number 1. Point number 2, let's talk about the valuation. The valuation is so cheap. How much am I paying for that growth? Enterprise value over gross profit over revenue growth. I am paying a 0.01 even. Even is 100 and change. So 0.01 is how much I'm paying for that growth. For forward growth, enterprise value over forward revenue growth next 12 months, I'm paying less than a 0.5, a 0.44. And so this is a company also that achieves a rule of 40. So I used the data I have for EBITDA margin at 10%. It's likely going to be higher this quarter, but we don't have the full numbers. And I'm predicting an 80% growth. So I get a rule of 90, I get a 0.01. And so this is just unreal valuation on this one. The 80% next 12 months growth is an old number that I found somewhere based on some analyst somewhere. But of course, when I calculate the instant growth rate, it's 140% annualized. There's no way to know really what the growth rate is going to be. And that's going to be somewhat crucial in valuation, but not as crucial because it's so cheap. The stock is so cheap. So even if you were to get 40 or 30% growth, you would still get an insanely low number on EV over GP over revenue growth. Now, gross margin. The gross margin is 97%. And this is real. And this is insane that this gross margin is so high. I calculated it 3 times, and I can tell you it's the real gross margin. It's 97.5 actually. This is pure margin essentially. Placentas are free, and you can go ahead and look. Revenue was 102.9 million, right? And the cost of the revenue, the gross profit based on that was 99.3 million. So they have their facility, and they can just churn out these bandages so quickly. And so how cheap is it? Well, it's, let's say, TMDX, Transmedics, a stock I like on this channel. It's 13 times cheaper than Transmedics, as an example. The enterprise value, they have 10 million of cash. They have 4 million of debt and 14 million of cash. So 10 million of net cash on balance sheet. Your EV is 240 million with 302 million in sales. That's an enterprise value over sales of a 0.79. Again, for a company that could grow 100%, 80%, 140%, I don't know. But this is so cheap. And let me conclude. If you look at the stock chart, you may see it was trading up to the low 20s, and now it's back at around 15. And you may see why is that? Well, I need to address really quickly the elephant in the room, small elephant in the room, which is Medicare, the CMS, the company that has the right of life or death on any medical company early on in the value chain, essentially. That's the CMS. And the reason why the stock dropped is because the CMS removed 2 products, Vendara AC and Amnio from the local coverage determination. So anyways, it's bureaucrats. Go figure. But the point is that the market got scared, and there's a few things I want to say about that. First of all, the original product, Vendara, the original product, is still on the list, so that's still going to be good for that, and that's the main product, the original product, so we're still good for that. The difference between Vendara AC and regular Vendara, which could be construed as 2 of the leading products. First of all, Vendara AC was introduced in October of 24, so that's not a lot in the sales, but the only difference is that Vendara AC is thicker, and so you have some structural material. It's better for bigger wounds, more complex wound. You have some structural layer in Vendara AC which you don't have in regular Vendara, but that's it. So again, I don't think it's the most crucial thing, but it'd be much better if it got back on the list. Same for Amnio. Now remember, a lot of people may need these who are outside of Medicare, and then it's a matter of which insurance company covers or not. The problem is that the insurance companies, many of them copy Medicare, and many of them just do what Medicare does. So that's why it's kind of so important. Anyways, so and Amnio, which is their other system, also a bigger system. It's off the list, but a lot of people say it could be added back on the list. First of all, because based on my reading and my conversation with an AI, there seems to be a tradition of updating the list, debating the list, changing the list, and this is especially true under a new administration. You can bet that every single company who's not on the local coverage determination on the list fights to get on the list, and so they will have a fight with the new administration, and it's all about how can you please the new admin to get on the list. I don't really know how this works, but that's the less transparent way. And so new administration, new list, big changes in Medicare. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is you can go at it the regular way, which is many academic studies. The more academic studies you have, the more you can argue for Vendara AC and Amnio. And if you go on their website, you can see that they are recruiting for an Amnio academic study. They are doing studies. They're getting the studies published. When the studies get published, then they have an easier time arguing for the local coverage determination by the CMS. And you can see some of these conversations. I've looked a few up. They are public, and they publish a lot of these conversations. And you can see it's all about the quote-unquote evidence-based. So they'll get back on the list is my base case. My base case scenario is they'll get back on the list. They just need more studies to get back on the list. And still, many people, if your wound doesn't heal, if it's not on the list, you still want your wound to heal. And so I think you could have a lot of people just paying out of pocket, or traditional insurance companies paying for it, seeing the benefits of it. So anyways, valuation is so cheap. The product is very interesting. I'm happy to own this one. I have a starter position in this one. I may increase my position. Of course, I let you know on Patreon whenever I add it to my portfolio. This was not financial advice. This is not investment advice. This is just entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, follow me on Patreon, follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.